Hey everybody, welcome back to Two Step Gaming. In this episode, we're going to be starting a new series. We're going to be ranking all the characters in Marvel's Avengers with me and Ambush. Just giving you our opinions on all the characters. And remember, this is just our opinions. This can change depending on your playstyle and your experience on that character. But this will give you a good indication of how this character is going to perform. So yeah, we'll get into it. We got 5 different sections that we go over. Each of them is going to be ranked through 1 through 10, giving the character a total of 50 points at the end, and depending on how high they rank, up to 50, we have a set thing going from not useful to good to very good to God tier. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Hopefully this helps you. This one is going to be on the Hulk. If there is a certain character, we will be doing all of them. So if there is a certain character out of the other 3 that are out already, let me know in the comments, and me and Ambush will do that one next. But yeah, hopefully this helps. We will be doing this on every character that does release. So yeah, let us know if you like it, and anything that we can change to make this a little bit better for you guys, or more educational for you guys. So yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so first and foremost, character playability. So how do you feel the Hulk plays? Do you think he plays all right?
Well, so my experience with it is that it's kind of rough, like, because you feel it's very dramatic. At one point, you're going into a fight and you feel like you're incredibly strong, you're destroying everything, and then the next minute you're dying very quickly, and
Yeah.
it's kind of scary to be honest. So, like, with my experience, it's very dramatic. It's a lot of ups and downs there.
Yeah,
So I think,
no, for sure he does have his fun aspect to it, but I find he's a decently easy character to master. Like he's pretty straightforward. I don't find anything in his kits very diverse or anything like that.
yeah, he's got straightforward combos.
Yeah, so I find
Kind
he's
of seems.
pretty easy to play character. But again, at the same time, I don't see him having a very high um, like end game. Like once you actually get him there, I don't see him changing a whole lot, like becoming a really overpowered character.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I
Yeah.
think the only thing that makes him I think good in a fight would be pairing him up with perhaps a character like Miss Marvel, somebody that can heal him when he's taking a lot of heat, because he's just gonna go right in there in the fight. So
Yeah, for sure. Um, so what would you rank this character on as far as playability? Um, I'm shooting around. I mean, he's not the best out there. He's not the worst out there. I'd probably put him around like a 6. He's
yeah,
he's pretty easy to get the hang of, but I really don't think he excels when he gets higher leveled. So
yeah, I can agree with that. I think I'd put him around there, around a 6 or so, maybe a 7. Maybe if somebody is like playing this character a lot and is really
yeah.
I think that at the end game, if you know how to use him and know where to be, I think that you can position yourself in the correct places and use your taunt at the right time. I
Hmm.
think you could he could be a 7. I think
Yeah,
for me.
we probably put him at a 7.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can do a 7. All right. Any other topics you want to bring up with that one, or you're all good with that?
No, I think he's a straightforward character to play. I think he's beginner friendly for the most part.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, Early game, I think later game you actually kind of have to know how to play him because he takes so much damage. It's kind of a scary moment. You got to kind of
Yeah.
know when you're needing help and things like that. So I think he's good in the beginning game for an early player, like a beginning player. I think later game when stuff's tougher, you might need to watch it a little bit as you're playing him.
Yeah. All right. Well, next, so the character skills and versatility. So just a rough overview. How do you feel before we go actually into depth of all of his skills and stuff like that? How do you feel overall with the Hulk's kit?
It's interesting. I mean, I like that he can throw rocks. I feel like that's pretty good.
Hmm.
So he's got the range, right, if he needs it. Um, he's got the just he can destroy everything around him, which is pretty nice at this, the AoE attacks.
Yeah.
Um, and I think his ultimate's pretty strong as well.
Yeah.
So with his skills for what we see in the beta, I think it's pretty good as an AoE attacks, like with that aggression for hitting a lot of targets to once. So
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah, I think his skills are pretty well rounded when it comes to close combat.
Yeah.
I do like that he has a little versatility with the range though, because he can throw stuff.
Yeah. No, he. Yeah. I don't mind his skill set. Again, it comes down to like knowing his skills. Like Hulk does take a lot of heat, especially if you use his one ability that makes him taunt. You do take a lot of damage, and it is sort of hard to survive. So I guess that does sort of take a count into character playability too. If you're not aware of that, that can make Hulk pretty difficult to play.
What's this button do? Oh no.
Yeah. All right, so we'll quickly run through his abilities here. We'll go over each one in detail and get our thoughts on it. So first, the Thunderclap, his ultimate ability. So what do you feel about the Thunderclap?
My initial impression of it is that especially early game, it seems really strong. Like I feel like that's that ability. Like when you're stressed out, there's a lot of things going on. You have that thunderclap on you. Man, it just feels like it really evens the playing field for you quite a bit. I think, especially when there's a lot of targets. When there's a lot of smaller, small to medium sized enemies, it does kind of get them off your back and do a lot of damage, and kind of heals you up a little bit. So I like the thunderclap. I'm
You
definitely
know,
big on the thunderclap.
no, yeah, Thunderclap's very good. I find it's really good for close range, wiping out a big group of enemies to if they're all in front of you. Definitely does a lot of damage. Good AOE as well. So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Thunderclap is really good. The only thing I do find that's a little bit um, lacking on the Thunderclap, it doesn't really do anything for your team besides just deal that massive damage and sort of pushes everyone back away from the Hulk. Um,
Yeah.
so it's just pretty much a straightforward damage and ultimate ability.
Yeah. Be nice
Uh,
if it armor to give him armor or something too, to be honest with you. Just
yeah,
use it as a taunt.
yeah, he definitely does need something added to him to give him a little bit more survivability, but we'll get into that once we get down to the next topics down there. So his next ability, Stronghold. What do you feel about this ability?
That's the one where he runs, or is that his
Yeah,
taunt? Which one is
that's
that?
no, that's his run ability.
Run ability?
Yeah,
Um, I think for me, I don't run at small enemies because to me I run right by them. It's like Toro, dude. I just like run at them and then I just go running right by them. But if it's a mech or something, it seems like it does a massive amount of damage and I really enjoy it. Like it looks like you want to almost run into a wall or run into something solid like a big opponent, a big enemy, because I feel like the times that I've ran at smaller enemies before, it really didn't do a whole lot. I just end up running out, running by them and hitting the friggin' floor, and it's,
yeah.
not very useful. But when it lands, it lands. It seems pretty strong.
Hmm.
What I think about it,
Um, yeah, it's a pretty straightforward ability. Runs
of
forward,
course,
blows
in the
through a
armor.
few people, grabbing one person, smashing them into the ground once he finishes his charge.
Yeah,
Again, it's not. It doesn't have a whole lot of versatility to the team. It's just a straight damaging ability, pretty much again. Um,
no,
and his last ability, Bone Shaker. So that's his smash the ground and gain taunt ability. How do you feel about this one?
yeah. Again, that kind of goes along with the playability a little bit, because like it's good. Like 'cause at first I actually thought it was like a damaging ability, so I was just using it. But like
Yeah.
now understanding that it's a taunt and everything after playing him a bit.
Hmm.
Um, it's one of the things where you need to be aware of what it does to your character. I mean, yes, it gives you armor, which is a good thing. So if you're taking a lot of, a pounding, sometimes you can use that to get away out of a bad situation too, right? But you got to remember that it pulls all those enemies onto you. So if somebody else is
Yep.
taking heat, it can pull, the ads off them. So I think that's one of them abilities that somebody that's a little bit more seasoned with the character, knows a little bit more about the character and how it plays, will be able to make a lot better use out of. I I would like to see like Square Enix make him a little bit tougher when he uses it, like a
Yeah.
little bit more armor would be good, I think.
And maybe we will see him get a little bit tougher once we actually see his full skill tree unlocked at launch. Maybe there's stuff in there to actually make him a bit better. But as far as right now, what we can see, he definitely does need something to give him more survivability. Because yeah, he just when he taunts, it's almost game over for you.
You either run or you cry for help,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I mean, and mixed in with that taunt, you can also hit your R two, which will pretty much do the exact same thing. It puts you off into a rage. You can't attack or anything like that while you're holding it, but it does draw the enemies to you and give you that shield. So if one of your teammates are in trouble, yeah, he can draw the enemies to him so that they can get out of trouble. He does get that extra damage buff, or not damage buff, but damage resistance.
Yeah.
So yeah, how do you feel about his skills overall? This versatility. I mean, I find he's pretty good. Like as far as his skill set goes, I find he's really good. It's just he's missing some components to push him over the edge, like to actually make him really good. Like his survivability. If his survivability was good, his skill set. I mean, it helps out the team quite a bit with the taunting, thunderclap, big damage. Shoulder charge is. I mean, it's not great, but it's all right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how do you feel about him? Like as far as a full kit goes?
Well, to be honest with you, like I said, I mean, he's kind of built like a tank, right? Because of the aggro, because of the taunting that he does.
Hmm.
I do like his skill set as it is, and some of his other skills, coupled with the abilities that he uses. But I definitely think that he needs, like you just said, more survivability. I'd almost like to see too, now that I think about it, I'd almost like to see his abilities, like or his skills, kind of transfer over into a lot more stun damage, like because we know he does AOE,
Yeah.
right? But if he's kind of built like a powerhouse, like a tank almost, it'd
Hmm.
be nice if he did a bit more stunning damage to kind of negate those ads that you have on the field
Yeah.
and help the other people get in there and and fight him. I mean, we know that the Hulk has to do damage though, right? So
Uh-huh.
it's a toughie. But I think it'd be nice if he actually did, he had better survivability with his taunt, and that he could actually maybe do something a little bit more effective, like stunning or interrupting the enemy on the ground, because I feel like
Yeah.
he just does damage right now.
Hmm.
He taunts and does damage is basically what I think.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the way I look at it. He does damage, but his taunt it really isn't that good, just because he just dies once he puts on a taunt if you're fighting any strong type of enemies.
Yeah.
Um. So what do you feel? I mean, if he had a lot more survivability, I'd probably rank him a bit higher in this, but I'm thinking around that like 6, because I mean all of his other abilities they don't really help out the team. He deals decent damage, but his taunt is almost useless right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I would go with you. Just I guess to play the devil's advocate a little bit, I'd almost say like maybe even a 5, because like
Yeah.
5 or a 6. I mean, you could probably go 6. Yeah, that's fair.
I mean
If you say 6,
he
but
comes in handy at points. So
yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think it bounces around there. It's nothing really spectacular though.
yeah.
What he's got going on for him, that's for sure. So I'm okay with 6. That's fine if you want to say that.
All right. Mobility. Probably the Hulk's weakest point, which is very weird for a character such as the Hulk. But how do you feel about the Hulk's mobility?
Are we talking like just like in combat, or are we talking about like traversing the map, like
So
from
everything. So
start to?
traversing the map and in combat.
Okay. Well, I think when it comes to trying to get up to a high place, like to get a chest or something, it's
Hmm.
terrible.
Yeah,
Like awful.
he's bad.
You feel grounded, we'll put it
Yeah.
that way. And in combat, I think that I don't know. It looks stiff. He's
Hmm.
obviously
He
slow.
feels very
Um,
clunky.
yeah, it's very clunky, but I think it's hilarious when he dodges because like
Oh
it does
yeah.
not look like he dodges what happened, but I mean the game's registering it as a dodge, but it looked like it
Uh-huh.
took off a chunk of his shoulder or something.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
but yeah, definitely clunky.
yeah,
So
it's really
that's
weird. A character like the Hulk, I figured, his jump, like he'd be able to jump like, like high. But I find with even like Kamala, she can jump higher than the Hulk.
yeah,
It's weird. Yeah, so you definitely his mobility is lacking for sure. And I'd really like it to see like if they could double his jump, like how high he can jump. If they could double that, I
mm,
think he might be able to do something. But like I remember Chess being up in trees with the Hulk, and I can't even get up onto the tree with him. Just
yeah,
super clunky in his jump. I mean, he jumps once. To actually get any height, you have to get the second jump, and if you don't line that jump up properly, well, yeah, you're just off into the bushes somewhere.
yeah. I'm pretty sure I spent 5 to 10 minutes trying to get a chest in a tree, and my random teammates all just left me.
Yeah.
I was stuck. I was committed though, getting that chest. But yeah, it was not a fun time. Definitely needs some help there. It would be
Yeah.
nice to see when he does those, leaps and bounds. Maybe like his third leap, be like a tremendous like rocket into the air. That'd be kind of
Yeah.
crazy. See, but
Um, so yeah, as far as mobility, I mean, I gotta put him down like at like a 4, maybe
yeah,
even
me
lower.
too.
Like he does not move very well.
He's definitely of what we've seen so far. He's definitely the clunkiest and
Oh
slowest
yeah.
for sure. Yeah, it's real bad. But
So yeah,
I could go
what
along
are
with
you
the four.
thinking? 4?
I could go with a four. I could definitely go with a three. To be honest with you, you could be even. I mean, a two is arguable at this point with with his movement. So like, I'm down for a four if you want to give it
Okay,
that. But
yeah, we'll go with a
that's
4.
fair. Well, let's be nice to the poor Hulk then.
Yeah.
Give this guy
Hoping
some
that maybe
help.
something in his kit when the game releases, or they change a little bit of something that he'll actually be able to pick up his game a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, next on the list, survivability. Well, uh,
We've been harping on
yeah,
that
we've
this
been
whole
going
time.
on to it, so I mean, well, I don't feel survivability with the Hulk is very good at all. I mean, it just seems like every enemy is just trying to kill the Hulk, even when you're not taunting, and he does not take the damage very well. What are your feelings?
Oh yeah, he's just the glass cannon, I guess. I don't know. Like it's yeah, it makes if he was more survivable, it would make hitting that taunt button a lot easier.
Hmm.
Because like you said, I mean, you're already taking a tremendous amount of damage. If especially if you up the difficulty in the levels, like we've gone
Yeah.
and we've upped the difficulty on some of the levels and stuff like that to the max, and it was testing right, but the Hulk is just getting creamed
Oh
because
yeah.
he's just getting hit so hard, and then you're like, okay, well everybody else is in trouble, maybe he should taunt. Well, there's
Hmm.
no point because he's already dead. Like there's nothing to
Yeah.
taunt. He
Well, like
taunts, he's dead. So
yeah, like I find like I played with all the characters, and it just even when you're not taunting with the Hulk, it just seems like he is getting hit more than anybody else. It's just I don't understand. But
yeah,
yeah, it almost like, and it takes you back to the ability section. It's almost like that one ability, the taunt ability. You never want to use it because you can't survive once you hit that ability, especially if you're fighting harder enemies.
yeah,
So I mean, Hulk survivability. If you don't use the taunt, if you never use taunt, is average. But as soon as you actually try to use his ability set, it goes way down.
yeah. And it's a bit of a ruse as well because you hit that button thinking, okay, well this it's gonna taunt me, but it's gonna give me armor, so maybe I can survive. And that's
Yeah.
really just that's a lie. I mean, you get
Yeah.
armor, but with what happens, if you're
And
already
like
hurt
if
and you
you're
taunt.
playing against like same level enemies, like you have a 25 power Hulk and you're fighting against level 20 to 25 level enemies, yeah, sure, you can survive it, but as soon as you go into any type of challenging content, he's useless. He's absolutely useless.
Go up into brutal contents like the brutal
He
levels, or what is
just
it, challenge level
dies.
4?
Like
Yeah,
I remember
it's like
playing like when we ran into the tank mission there. Like I was playing the Hulk, and literally I was just on the ground. I
Yeah.
think there was I never even got the full film of that thing, and there was like 18 or 19 downs that I had in that match. It was like
Yeah,
it was,
you were sitting there for a good minute. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
so
it's tough. It's a roller coaster, that's for sure.
so like if I'd say his survivability at best is average when he's not using the taunt. So like that'd be like a 5. But as soon as you're actually using his full ability set, his survivability just drops to like nothing.
Yeah.
Um, like you go down to like a 3 probably survivability because he just can't stand up. Um,
Hmm.
unless maybe you're like maybe there's people out there that are like very good Hulk players and they can friggin' stand up with him or they know something that we don't know. But um, yeah, I'd have to put him at like being gracious to him. If you're fighting equal content, I could give him a 5 maybe in survivability.
I think five's fair because I think for the general, like your general player base, I think most of them's gonna be able to play the Hulk and get
Hmm.
through like on nor like let's say normal difficulty on everything.
All right, and our last section. So, damage output. So we're gonna rank these out of instead of a 10, we're just gonna rank these out of 5s because there's two separate damage types, single target and AOE, which will give us a grand total of 10 for damage overall afterwards. But first, we'll talk about a single target. Um, how do you feel Hulk is on single target?
Um, yeah, that's a tough one because like, are we counting just like his square ability,
Yeah,
like when he's
so
just swinging light attacks,
yeah, pretty
or
much
are you
any
talking
damage
just like,
that you're dealing with the Hulk that would be like fighting if you're fighting a boss or a big ad like a spider tank. How do you feel he performs? I mean, I don't think he performs the greatest on single target. He sort of hits all right, but I don't find he's anything special. There's other characters of these four that hit a lot harder than him on a single target.
yeah, yeah, I would say he's definitely so. I think his single target, like I think to clarify, I think the rock throw thing for
Hmm.
range
Yeah,
is I think that would be single target. I think that's like the weakest aspect. Like as you look at his
yeah,
skills and you're like, as soon as he picks up that big huge chunk of rock and starts
hmm,
like whacking people with it, that's more Hulk's play style. So
yeah,
and again, that just starts turning into AoE damage at that point.
hmm,
So I think with his square, him just punching stuff and going at it like a single target, it doesn't seem like it's that impressive, but when there's a group of enemies, I think his AoE is definitely a lot better, especially his heavy attacks, triangles,
yeah.
all AoEs, right?
Yeah,
So,
pretty much the Hulk is based around AoEs. Like his single target stuff doesn't really do. And the thing is, it sort of sucks because like if you're fighting a boss, yeah, you could use the thunderclap on a boss, but it's not really going to hurt him that much because it's meant to deal damage to a group of enemies and deal decent damage to a group of enemies instead of really good damage on a single target. So,
yeah,
um, single target wise, yeah, I don't find he's that good. I mean, he can do all right damage. Like I'd probably put him at like out of a 5, he'd probably be like a 2. He's not really that great at single target damage. I don't find.
yeah, that's fair. I think two's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
he's not the
then
best at that.
no, but now where he does excel, the next part AOE, I find he really does do like very good AOE damage, especially the higher level he gets, and he can start doing those multiple ground slams. I mean, all of his skills are based around AOE. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, what do you feel about that?
yeah, I think you could go and I think it would be fair. I mean, given what we've seen, I think it's fair to put him at a 4.5 or a 5.
Yeah,
Like because a 4 is even fair, but I think
yeah,
5 is not really unreasonable just because like everything's like in a cone for him.
hmm,
Everything's like straight with his triangle, his heavy attacks. And of course like with his thunderclap, man, you're smashing everything in front of you and around you.
yeah,
Um, yeah, she's definitely, and especially when you're considering his ults, like his literally his ultimate is a huge AoE attack. So I
yeah.
think it's fair to put him at a 5. I think.
Yeah, he does do a lot. I'm good with a 5. He does do a lot of AoE damage. Um, all right, so that puts him at a 5. So that gives him a total of 7 for damage. Gives him a total 29. Put him onto a good. He's not useful, like no good at all. He's not a meta character. Um, he's a good character.
Alright guys, well that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let us know what you guys think. Don't forget, like and subscribe, ring that bell notification so it'll alert you as soon as we bring out the next character. And yeah, hopefully you guys have a good rest of your week. Alright, 2-step out.